Hey there! I was just playing Warthunder to begin with, and I figured I'd start recording my sessions for a couple of my friends who have been having trouble flying American planes, particularly the P-38. And the P-38 is a very interesting fighter, and it just, it climbs. American planes generally climb very, very well and dive really, really well, but they don't turn so well. They're dragsters. They tend to go very, very fast in a straight line. And the P-38 is kind of the ultimate expression of that. It climbs like mad, it dives really solidly, and all its guns are concentrated in the nose, and it doesn't turn very sharply at all, so it's almost made to be a boom and zoomer, as we call it. So I'm up here, and I noticed a KI-45, and I'm sure you noticed the guns of the P-38 are in the nose, so they're effective at much longer ranges, which means anybody who gets into a head-on with you is kind of asking to be killed. Take a couple of shots and then roll offline. And the big thing you can do, the big thing you want to do in the P-38 is what I'm doing here, basically. You dive on people. You never try to turn with them, at least not to the point where you don't have an advantage. You always try to get an energy advantage by diving on them. And this guy's turning, but I'm stuck to him so close now he can't really freely get away from me. And there's no way he can outmuscle me. And he tries desperately to dive away, but because of my nose guns, I managed to kill him. And, yeah. So in this next clip, I'm climbing above the enemy forces, and I spot some enemies engaging friendlies below, so I'm just like, okay, let's dive on them. I'm going to provide some support for my friends. So I'm in the middle of picking my target here, and this is always something you have to do during your dive, is you pick your target. Try to pick targets that are going along the same velocity vector as you. I cut my engine so I'm not going too fast. You know, if you go too fast, your controls will just lock up, and I eventually picked this P-400. Because he's going the same direction I am. So I just line up, and he's not even aware of me at this point. I just came rocketing down from the heavens, and before he even knows what's happening, he's exploded. Now, all that energy I've built up from diving, I don't want to waste it by trying to turn with another bandit. Don't get hyper-aggressive, and don't get tunnel vision. What I'm doing, use that climb rate. The phenomenal climb rate of the P-38 is your best tool for escaping situations, and you have to use it before the enemy gets on your tail. So, I got a yak here sniffing on my butt, but he quickly gives up because he realizes he just can't catch me. And then as soon as he gives up, I scythe around, and now I'm on him. Look at that! It wasn't that hard at all. All you do is you preserve that energy you get on the dive-in, and then scythe around as soon as people aren't on you. And so I'm chasing him now. He's running away. I got speed. Though I'm catching up. And he knows I'm there, so he's evading like crazy. He's trying to use the mountains for cover, but I'm getting little snapshots off at him. And this is one situation where you will actually want to turn with a bandit, like I said. Make sure your combat flaps are down, because right here I have too much energy. He can't get away from me. He can't go fast enough to get away. And if he had turned really hard there, he might have gotten away, but sadly he didn't. And he kind of lost his opportunity now. So I'm just going to... This is the one situation where you really want to turn with the bandit, is when you've got him dead to rights, and he's just desperately trying to get away from you. That's where you would consider turning with the bandit. And so I get lucky on my next gun pass, set him on fire, and then I decide that's enough. I nearly crash into a cliff, and I power through with those engines and climb away from the battlescape. So this is yet another clip, and basically the bigger thing that I've been showing you in these videos is a tactic called boom and zooming. And in a boom and zoom, right, you dive on people, making short gun passes rather than attempting to stay with the target. And another guy tries to get into a head-on with the P-38, which is a very, very, very bad idea. Provided he doesn't get too close. If the enemy gets inside 800 meters, I would definitely roll offline and start evading. You're going to see how to evade a boom and zoomer here shortly, because the main reason I've included this clip is that several people managed to get away from me here, though not for very long. So I see this furball over here. Everybody's heading in the same direction, and they're not really paying attention to me. And by the time I get closer, this guy, see, he ducks underneath me. He dives underneath my plane and escapes. And I don't want to try to turn to follow him. It'd be a very bad idea. So I just keep going the direction I'm going. I'm going 700 kilometers per hour, and if I turn around, all that velocity is going to go away. So I keep going, and I pick the next target along my flight line. That's that lag, and I miss him. So instead of trying to turn with him, I do what's called a high yo-yo. I fly up in the sky, let gravity slow me, and then turn around to dive on him again. And unfortunately, he then blew up because a friendly got him during that time period. But hey, there you go. If he'd still been alive, I would have been able to get him. And again, with this, you get some more tricky bandits right here that are going to evade me. I see a Yak 9 flying over the water with no real support, and I have an altitude advantage on them, so I dive on him and I kind of gun my engine because it's a bit of a shallow dive, but then I cut it because it starts becoming steep. And he, intentionally or otherwise, he ducks underneath me, and yeah, I miss. So rather than trying to pull a split S, I climb instead, pull a high yo-yo, relocate my target, and dive on him again. And this time, I'm pretty sure he sees me coming, and he decides to turn hard into me. See? And he ducks underneath me again. So instead of following him, I turn around and I keep going the same direction I am, and I high yo-yo, and friendly's got him. But still, if they hadn't, I would have been able to. This strategy works even for other American planes. Actually, almost all American planes are good at it. Even the ones that aren't even a bit more turn-happy than the P-38. Basically, with American planes, you always want to have either an altitude or a speed advantage over your opponent. American planes have very, very big engines, and they climb and dive really well. Dive in particular. They're very stable gun platforms. So, with this P-47 here, one of the biggest things I do is I just kind of drive a straight line through an enemy formation, and just picking targets as I go, making short gun passes on them. So for instance, I'll pick this F1 W190 first. I'll get him, see? Then without turning with anybody else, I'll go up for this Lele 5, because he's the most convenient target. I'll get him. And again, I'm still going roughly the same direction. So as you can see, this combat paradigm very much favors straight line attacks as opposed to big curvy divey ones. In this particular clip, I'm engaging a 109, and he starts diving away from me and climbing and doing all sorts of crazy maneuvers to try to get away from me. And I ended up actually deciding to turn with him. But because I have more speed and my combat flaps are down, I managed to stick it out, and he's just recovering from his turn when I blow him to smithereens. And so, like, it's not like American planes can't turn, but they need a speed advantage when they do, you know? So, always remember, try to dive on people, try to have a speed advantage when you go into turning fights, use those 50s and the excellent armament of planes, and remember, you know, and maybe targets will just present themselves to you, like this one. Or, maybe like me, some asshole will decide to dive you while you're diving someone else. You can't win them all. Anyhow, good luck.